I am of the earth, and I ground myself to the earth. I honor you, elements of the wind, the air, of water, of fire, of spirit, of ether, of oneness. I honor you, Mother Almighty, you from whom I've come. I honor you, the Divine Feminine, creators of all that is. Thank you for caring for us. Thank you for caring for us, nurturing us, me and we, in your unique ways and means. I honor you, Mother Earth, in whose womb I reside, where I am nurtured, protected, healing, and more. I honor you, my guides and guardians of my left and right side, and of my center. As I sit here in this moment to deliver that which the heart calls to speak on, I ask truth, honesty, to please sit beside me. In this container, I do not permit any intrusion of any sort, no matter the shape, form, or means. That which it stems from. May clarity, honesty prevail. Greetings all. If you're stopping by again, welcome. In today's disclosure, if you will, in today's talk, tellings, I wish to speak on, it seems now this is one of the things that we as a people, we are wanting to come to understanding about, and it is something that I too struggle, because again, none of the issues that we face individually is unique, or faced in the past is unique. It is a thing that happens in our society, and yeah, it is not unique to the individual per se. And that thing that I wish to speak on, or topic, issue, if you will, that I wish to speak on has to do with the fear of being alone. In this talk, I shall not elaborate too much about the different groups there are, because possibly I don't know all, and I'm learning along with the rest of we too. But what I do want to speak on, as I am on the other side of it, and I believe my insight may be helpful to those who are waking up to their spirituality and are wanting some guidance or insight. The fear of being alone. As you probably will stumble upon on this platform here, the previous recordings I made, specifically the one about the elders of the fair folk, the Fae fairies. I mentioned a bit there about, my incarnation in West Africa, and how knowledge of spirit is not a new thing, and it is not something that is hidden. And thankfully, that helped for a lot of disclosures that, yeah, that I tapped into. So, fear of being alone. This is something that I can say it's quite normal. There are different levels, degrees of fear. I'm not going to go into any of that because I'm not a technical um, source of that topic, and I'm not a expert in it. So I can only share what I can share in these chit chats, and hopefully, well, it's not a chit chat, more so a disclosure, like I said. So, anyways, fear of being alone. Many adults and children included are afraid of being alone. What I peeked into as I am now on the other side of that, because first, let's just take a step back. I'm here, so my hand here, that's me. Over here, the fear of being alone. On the other side of that, afraid of being alone, not so much. No, not so much. Afraid of living in an apartment by oneself, that was a thing. Not so much. Afraid of traveling by oneself, on the other side of that. Afraid of dark spaces or places, on the other side of that. And this dialogue, disclosure telling, what after being on the other side of that, it dawned on me that society, whether Africa or here in America, society does a gross disservice, whether it is intentional or just carelessness, I don't know. But it is a gross disservice to children and adult alike to just tell us of one type of life that there is. We all know that the animals around us is another type of life. We all know that the trees around us is another type of life. Although some people will try to argue that trees are not alive. So, in the laws of the cosmos, the trees are alive. So, what I'm getting to is that society did a gross disservice by not informing we, humankind, of the life that we stem from. And the life that we stem from is from the stars, of the stars. We are light, we are stars. Again, on the other side of that, so now I speak confidently about that which I'm saying. And no, I'm not going to cite anything because I just am not. Addressing this heart of it, because this is something that people struggle with, and I'm hoping that as a result of you listening to this insight, perhaps you will start to feel different and see differently and just have an introspection about what I'm saying. Life is all around us. It is unfortunate certain reproduction call it ghostly, okay? And based on my recount and ceremonial honoring of the fae, of the fairies, hopefully your heart will start to acknowledge and appreciate the other form of life that is around us. Okay? They're just around us. This is not a matter of opinion. And if it was, then perhaps check with many cultures, tribes, eons dating back that speak to these life forms that are just around us because they are real. So the life form around us, fae, fairy, trees, animals, and then there's a whole slew of them. And the other form of life that is around us has to do with life of a place. And this again is what I'm speaking to. They did a gross disservice to not acknowledge that spaces that we dwell in have energy of their own, and one can say it is alive. And for those of you that frequent the internet, you would have seen into other people or read about other people's experiences where they were in certain homes and things kept, happening, this, that, and the third. Well, that space is not only alive, but it may be a passage, like a route, like when we are driving on our roads. You have left turn, right turn. Those are roads. Houses were and have been built on certain roads. The information you that are dwelling in whatever spaces, you may not have this information about eons past, but you are interacting with the life of the place, whether above it, below it, and the container of it. For the longest moments that there were when I was afraid of being alone. Well, first, the afraidness of being alone started, as simple as it does start, being afraid of the dark. And unfortunately, that fear, however manufactured it is exacerbated based on those productions and the ails and the drama and the tantrums and just unhelpful energies that those productions retell us of the darkness. So when we are done consuming whatever those scary, annoying, trifling productions are, when we are done consuming all of it, and then when we go into our homes to rest, we are afraid of the very space that we live in. And some people cannot even turn off the lights in their room. Because we are different human beings, like made of different capabilities and whatnot, it is most unhelpful to consume a lot of those dramatic productions, especially the one that play on that very existing fear. Again, manufacture as it is, but when it is manifested, it is a real thing to be afraid of the dark. So one way that some of us was able to hop on the other side of it was to do away with those programs. Stop watching scary movies or even the actiony ones. They bring about certain type of energy that makes one jumpy in their environment. So that helped me get on the other side of not being afraid of the dark. That was the first place. And the more I traveled on the path of what we now call spirituality, back then, I didn't even call it that. I just call it going for a hike in the forest with meetup groups, or sometimes if I know a particular trail at a park, I would frequent that park very, very much. So I did that religiously. On a regular, consistent basis, I frequented parks. And the more that I did that, without intending to do away with that fear, a strength came within me that made me not afraid of my of the spaces that I lived in. So that was it. And then of course again seeing the fact that, oh, okay, I stopped watching certain programmings, and I am from, I reincarnated in this lifetime via West Africa. So the programmings there too carry similar ills that the Western ones do. They are full of drama, they are full of a lot of fear mongering. So I did with all of that, and whatever that I would consume would be in romantic nature. Romance, 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 romance. So, like I said, I noticed that I got on the other side the more that I went into nature and did a lot of hiking. And then another fear came up because I mentioned in my previous videos, the testimony about Fae and honoring of my Fae ancestors. In there, where I said in Liberia, West Africa, they talk about spirit, or they talk about spirit, and thankfully they don't bring up ghost isn't mentioned, in that regard. When a person name is called, they are reminded, oh, the spirits are calling you, your spirit ancestors are calling you. So it was helpful to have that relation and that reminder early on. So once I was over on the other side of not being afraid of the dark and not being afraid of living in an apartment by myself, because most adults will not live in an apartment by themselves. Most adults will not do anything by themselves because they are just afraid of spaces and their own company. Getting acquainted with, being in spaces by myself, another fear somehow came up, and I would reckon it probably may be the same for my brethren out there. And that was feeling vibrations, one might say energies slash entities in a room or space. I didn't know what I didn't know, but while I was in certain apartments, I felt like I am not the only person here. And that statement, I am not the only person here, is at the heart of it. Because again, this society, well, we are now teaching that there are more than one life. We human, we are life forms. And there is life all around us, even in the invisible form. Even in the invisible form. So, however continuous that carried on for, I went on and did some research, and I went into certain spaces. Now, mind you, I did not affiliate or go onto blogs or Google or research about any verbiage that will add more fear. Whatever websites that try to talk about ghosts and all that fear mongering stuff, I hopped over it. I hopped over it because for some reason I found that very annoying, basically. For someone to try to convince a living human being that, they can be bullied by someone that isn't in the flesh or something that isn't in the flesh, I didn't want to deal with that fear mongering. So it is advised to ignore anything, any publication, any forums of any sorts that seem to want to add on to the very thing that you're trying to get over and overcome and do away with. It's not helpful to frequent those, because for all you know, the person, company, or energy or whatever it is that is running that particular blog or forum, it could be that they want to have this fear of yours persist to continue, whereas you are looking to do away with it. So, what I did was I ignored all of those. I just hopped on to the helpful ones, and what helpful, in my view, then and now looks like were websites that spoke in this way, that said, oh, yes, houses are life and spaces carry energy from yesteryears. So it is wise to honor the space you're in. That clicked within me. Because again, not trying to deal with or entertain any fear mongering aspect, not trying to deal with or entertain any blog or blogger that's talking about ghost and basically anything that's trying to add more onto the very thing that I do not want. So when I heard and read into these insight that, oh yes, it would help you to honor the space you're in, speak to your house, sing in your house, dance in your house, speak goodness into the space that you're in. That resonated in my heart. Even before I am where I am on my journey, and yeah, even before getting to this place where I am now, for some reason that aspect just clicked, because I'm like, oh, this is a place that I sleep, I thrive, I bring people to. I do want to speak good things to this space. Even when I lived with my parents, I would play music and dance in the room, you know? I would dance in the room. And even when I didn't find my voice as confidently as I feel and do now, I would sing as the most off key thing that you ever want to hear. I would just sing. In my parents' house, I sang in my room. When I'm at the shower, I'm singing in the shower. When I moved into the different apartments that I lived in the past, those behaviors carried over. So like I said, that fear of the dark, I was over that. I would turn off the light in my room and then go to sleep. Now, mind you, as we are all humans, we tend to, tiptoe with certain bad habits. I noticed that when I went back to that bad habit of watching those programmings that try to elicit fear or add more fear mongering, when I watched those videos and shows about fearful things, there were moments where I did not want to sleep with the lights off. And then it reminded me, you were at this place before and you were done with it, and now you are back. You don't want to be here. So that action made me, confirm that, yeah, I do want to stop watching those unhelpful programmings because they don't add value to my life. They only make me shrink in the spaces where I'm supposed to thrive and flourish. So, fear of being alone, that was how I was able to hop over the fence. As it applies to feeling presence in your space, I encourage you to do what I did in the past. Speak honorable things. Like these days now, we call it manifestation. Speak honorable, helpful, truthful things that you want of your space. Speak it. For your space, listen. What is the saying that we have all heard? If walls could talk, if walls could talk. So that was it. And then when I hopped over the fence of that, as far as being not being afraid of one space, and when in certain instances when I would feel energies and presence in certain homes, what I did was, yes, my heart would start to race. I just started singing. For some reason, I just started singing because I'm like, then and now, I didn't want to entertain the idea of just being bullied in your own dwelling where you're at. So when I would feel energies or entities, if I couldn't see it, but in a particular direction, say in a corner of somewhere or somewhere, I would just feel that there was something there. Because life, unseen or seen, exists around us. We are in the physical, but there is life all around us, whether they're not in the physical, but there is life around us. So I would just start to sing. So that was one of the things that I did. The other things that I started to do, the more that I dabbled, and not dabbled, but the more that I came into awareness of my beingness as I am connected to all of what we are, similar to the testimonial honoring that I did with African American women specifically. You do want to check that out, because this next part, is where a good bit of that insight and reverence came from. So as I did more nature walks, stopped watching those awful programmings, and then singing to my spaces, even still continuing to sense presence in living spaces that I lived in, I learned from priestesses on the web that you do want to sage your home. So I made it a practice on a regular basis. I would sage the home, open the window, and just speak to say, unhelpful energies to like get out. And if I had a lavender oil, I would put some in water and just spray it in the home. And I noticed that led to flourishment. It led to not being a stranger or wanting to run away from my very own space. So when adults, as far as children, that is a different aspect, and it is one that is a sensitive aspect to speak on. Hopefully most of what I'm speaking here, the adults that's having a hard time with, maybe some of these practices may resonate with them to do. I was able to hop over the fence of the fear of being alone with those practices that I've just mentioned. And because we are sensitive, the word sense in there, and we are sentient beings, it makes sense for us to detect other life forms around us, because we have our five senses and more. It really makes sense for us to tap into other life forms around us. So, and depending on the feeling that comes up for you, and where you, the adult, is in your practice, go ahead and call on your guards and guardians. Go ahead and call on the strength of the Almighty. The Almighty can be anything protective and good and loving as we want it to be, because it is the Almighty. So for you that may be sensing, not good vibes when you detect that there's a presence in a space that you are in and you cannot see it, go ahead and call on the Almighty to intercede and, clear that particular space. And for those that practice in their spirituality that have Florida water or other type of clearings, some of these being mineral beings like incense and whatnot, absolutely. Light an incense, light a candle, speak to it, and speak that you want removed from your space that which is not for your highest or greatest good. Speak in that way. You're a human being, you matter. So as I got over on the other fence, other side of the fence, it dawned on me that, like, so much later down the road, these beautiful priestesses, that helped me on my journey, they were able to help me understand that, oh, yeah, your guides and guardians are always around you. If one could say, like, duh, well, this would be the moment where I would say, duh, or they would be like, duh, it's us. We are here to protect you. We love you. So, being on the other side of the fence, I'm like, oh, wait, it's my guides and guardians that have been around me all this time. Oh my goodness. Because I am a sentient being, sensitive being, I have been in certain spaces, specifically hotel spaces, where I was able to see through the third eye that there were other energies there. I have been able to see that. So it is not always that our guards and guardians that are around us. And if they are the one that is around you and you call on the Almighty, well, here you go. They're right there. They are the Almighty. They can handle that. They can remove and deal with that which is trying to interfere with you, that which is trying to bully or, just do anything that they protect you, basically. That's the bottom line. They love, they protect. So when I was told this, I was just laughing because I was now recalling several moments of being afraid of being alone, afraid of being alone. And then, of course, as I now walk with my guards and guardians in full awareness that they're around me, I have had moments where I peeked into certain energies. And it can be as simple as, even I am no longer afraid of being alone. I have been in certain places parked in my car, and through the third eye have been able to see that there are energies around in that space. Well, thankfully now I have the insight, knowledge, and capability to basically, like, exactly. No, thank you. Exactly. So just move and yeah. So take care with heart, with love for yourself as you are on your journey. And I mentioned those parts about certain other energies that were not my guides and guardians that, I was able to visibly see through the third eye. I mentioned that part because you want to have introspection, you want to be able to speak in that specific way. Any energy in this space that is not for my highest good should leave. And of course, if it is your guards and guardians that are there, they are for your highest good. They love, care, and want to protect you, and they do protect you. See, that's just it. For the many years that I was, asleep and not aware of them, they were doing just that, loving, caring, and protecting me. So now, as it applies to our young ones, the children, youthful ones, I must say that for the many years where I was afraid of the dark, it had to do with the very heavy dreams, like heavy as in still connected to the spirit world, because I wasn't, I was a child. I didn't have any adult issues to like weigh me down or interfere with that clarity. That's it. Clarity is the word. So as a child, having problems with being alone and fear of the dark, that just means that as sentient beings, our energy is like still in touch, like in touch with what is real, in touch with the spirit world. So I empathize greatly with the with that disconnect that is there, because the child is like, why am I sensing all these things? And depending on the child, some children are able to visually see. I remember with me, I wasn't able to visually see per se, but as far as feeling, whew, the feeling was just so very strong. It still is now, you know? So for the children that are afraid of being alone and are afraid of the dark, they don't want to go to sleep without the light on, just understand that we are connected to the spirit world, and that connection doesn't stop even as we grow into adulthood. So, you, the teenagers, you, the youth, take care with that. Speak peace, speak love, speak respect to your guards and guardians, because for all you know, they're around you. And from experience, we children, when I was a child, it is very easy to tap into energies. So that fear is real, because we tap into some unhelpfulness that may be in a space. And depending on the dream that one may have had, that dream carry certain heaviness and muddiness to it that makes the human afraid. So I say all that to say the fear is not baseless. The fear is not just frivolous. It is real, and it can be solved. There are spirit elders and ancestors that protect us, they love us, and they don't play when it comes to you and anything trying to interfere with you. But also, they want us to be aware that they're there, because it makes their job easy. It just makes their job easy. So children that are going through that, young ones that are going through that, you are not crazy. And the adults that are going through that, you are not crazy. There is life around us, seen or unseen. You can see me, okay. You can see this mist here, okay. There are certain energies that are mist-like, and you can see them. So take care in the respect that there is life around us. And because we are sensitive beings of life, we are able to sense into them, whether through the dream space or through other ways like third eye, or through other bodily ways when your body is having a reaction via sweats, via heart palpitation. It's a reaction to a life that is in certain space. So then and now, I always follow the path of the respectful route, the route that is, I'm going to honor myself and protect myself, and I will not condone any fear mongering from anything else that tries to explain those energies. That's just it. We don't know everything about the spirit world. So for some people that try to want to explain what those energies are, they lead into the fearful aspect. And I personally, I wasn't interested in that. It didn't help me. All I needed to know was, is this energy here of for my highest good? And if not, I need it gone. I'm not asking, it's an order. Get going. So may this insight be helpful to you in the ways that you need. And here on this platform of Healthy Accord, it is my desire and goal to share ways that the accord, the rules and regulations of the cosmos, of the natural world, how that has helped and continue to help shape and provide peace and ease in my life and in the life that I'm seeing around me. I mean to speak on those healthy accord on this platform, because it has been a way that healing, self-healing, community healing has able to come through me. Healthy accord. Yes, healthy accord as it stems from the cosmos and the natural world. Thank you for taking the moment to listen to this, and bye for now.